my junk equipment. So I'm out here harvesting lavender, and hopefully you can hear me. I just wanted to show that and tell my little story about lavender quickly, is that lavender is one of those plants that really had to grow on me, because I'm not somebody who can really fuss with plants that much. And every time I ever tried to grow lavender in the past, I would find a lavender that I loved and I wanted it to grow, and I ended up being almost like a house plant where I'd have to bring it in, or I'd have to baby it, or I would get it going and then I would lose it, and I would never understand why. And I thought me and lavender just weren't supposed to get along. But thankfully I didn't give up, and I just kept trying different varieties of lavender. And then again, I'm in zone 6A in Missouri, and I was in Kansas before. And that's when I discovered Grosso lavender. Grosso lavender is a French hybrid. It's got that classic scent that you expect from lavender. It's a very strongly scented. I almost can't bring this in the house and work with it in big bunches, because it just pretty much overwhelms me. So I found this lavender and it just grew for me. It just didn't have any problems. And when I planted it down here in this garden, it does like dry feet, and it does like alkaline soil, and it doesn't like really enriched soil. So this spot here just seemed to be perfect for it. And then I want you to see the size of the stems that I'm getting. Actually, I probably could have cut that there and then had 2 more blossoms, but it'll be okay. The whole thing about harvesting lavender is that your blossoms are going to grow on new growth every year. Your blossoms are going to show up on new growth every year. And so when you're collecting your blossoms, you're trimming your lavender shrub. So you're sort of shaping it. And with this Grosso lavender, you get these beautiful, well, this one here I waited a little long because some of my buds are starting to open, but you get these long, beautiful stems of this sort of light purple, dark blue, I would call it, blooms. And they just tie up. From these shrubs, now last year I didn't get to trim these. I was just too busy. I just let them grow and get established. And this year they're just bursting out like crazy. And so off of each one of my plants that are now established and just over a year old, I'm getting 5 to 6 bundles per plant, each bundle about that big. So what I do is I just trim them off. You can see I leave quite a bit of the stem at the bottom. I tie them up into this size bundles, and then I do hang them upside down, and that's just so that when they dry, they'll be straighter and won't have all that curviness going on. I love lavender in tea. That is my absolute favorite way. Now, this year I've got so much lavender that I'm also gonna try baking with it and making cookies and things like that with it. I don't use it so much for sachets, because it kind of, when I'm sleeping, I don't want to be overwhelmed by scents. I would rather have my windows open and just have the air flowing through, and I don't need to constantly inhale something. Although they say that this can help you sleep. That's a personal thing. Like me, I can't use real strongly scented things, like fabric softeners and dryer sheets and things on my sheets and pillowcases, because I just will smell that and it tends to keep me awake. So this doesn't work to make me sleepy. I really do think that that is a personal preference. People are always out and about. So anyway, also with the pollinators, I don't see a lot of pollinators on this. It's not native to the area, and my pollinators are looking for what they like. They're shopping for their favorites. So I do get bees, and I do get occasional butterflies and moths on these, but they don't flock to this like you would think. They're looking for their native stuff. So also, you do want to try and harvest your lavender before your buds open. Now, if you'll look, I waited a little bit long on that one, and the buds have already opened. You actually want to harvest it while your buds are still closed, like this. Okay, so this is a French hybrid. This is Grosso lavender. Again, I'm in 6A. This has grown fantastically for me. just fabulous. And they're far enough apart from each other that they're getting that airflow through there. And that's another thing that lavender needs. It can kind of, water and humidity tend to bog down lavenders that grow in my zone. And so the drier the climate, the drier their feet, the better they tend to grow. So I'm gonna go ahead and harvest all of this lavender. Now, recently I just met a florist, a local florist down here, and she sells Sweet Romance. So let me harvest a little bit and show you what Sweet Romance looks like. Now I want you to see Sweet Romance next to Grasso. So here's Sweet Romance, which is an English lavender, next to Grasso, which is a French hybrid. The scent is still there. Although I have to say, to me, this one smells slightly stronger. The Grasso smells slightly stronger. But you get this much bigger flower head, shorter, stouter. The leaves are longer. This just has your more classic lavender look, but I'm excited to get into the Sweet Romance. So I haven't really mentioned this too much. You guys have heard me talk about my micro meadow. So we're getting a house in September. We're taking out a clump of trees, and it's the back of the house is going to face this road so that our encampment will be completely encircled now. And every one of my buildings serves as a different room. And so to come up to the back of my house, you would cross through what I call now my micro meadow. A micro meadow is when you pull out all of the grasses that have taken over and you replace it with native plants. And so that's what I'm doing in the meadow behind me. So this was my first garden right here that I just had to hurriedly put in, and I just threw stuff in here, and I did it in a circle, and it's turned out fantastic. Everything I put in here has just really, really thrived, including the lavender, which I'm so thrilled about now. And now I can try using different lavenders in my area. And although it's not native, I'm still going to intersperse that lavender into this meadow behind me and see if we can't get an absolutely amazing micro meadow cottage garden kind of thing going on behind me. So anyway, I just wanted to show you guys, tell you if you've tried to grow lavender in your area and it doesn't seem like it's cooperating with you, just keep trying until you find a lavender that you really like and will grow for you in your area. Lavender's a little bit of a, I would call it kind of a pain to sort of get started, because you really want a certain type of lavender, and then you've got all this problem trying to get it to grow. And then don't be like me though and almost give up on it. I just practically almost gave up on it. And now I'm right back into lavender, and I'm absolutely loving it. Once I found a variety that grows well in my area, I'm absolutely in love with it. Now I can get it established and I can move on. I quickly want to say that I've been reading that a lavender plant will live about 10 years. So you constantly want to propagate your lavender. And since it's a woody perennial, that's fairly easy to do. You just take some of the growth, snip it off, use some root hormone and get it going, and you can greatly expand your lavender gardens. All right, guys, I'm gonna end it here. Another thing I wanna say is people say that you should harvest your herbs in the mornings when the oil is flowing more. I have harvested in the evening, and I've harvested in the morning, and then I've dried the plant. And honestly, I've gone back to smell them and cook with them, and I can't find a difference in morning harvest or evening harvest. I harvest when I can harvest, what's convenient for me. So try that, experiment with that, and see what you all think. And I just want to say again, if you're a fan of lavender and you want to grow it and you've become frustrated with it, or you don't want to have to grow it in a pot in your area, try to find a variety that grows well in your zone, and you'll be so happy you did. Oh, and speaking of the little bee devil one just showed up over there, so they're going to make a liar out of me, and I've got a beautiful bumblebee over there on my lavender. All right, guys, I'm going to quit this here. Got a lot of lavender to harvest this morning, a lot. Oh, I also want to say I do dry it upside down, if I forgot to mention that, so that it dries more straight. Use it in crafts, use it in cooking, use it in tea. Look up all the uses for it. It's got a phenomenal amount of uses, and it smells like your classic lavender, you know, and pretty much everybody loves that smell. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here, harvest some more lavender. Gotta go. Love and light. Blessed be.